What's going on, guys? The beasts have finally awoken. We're going to be checking out the Transformers Rise of the Beasts Weaponizer Optimus Primal with Arrowstripe. Now, I do plan to review pretty much everything from the upcoming Rise of the Beasts mainline, so if you guys have a favourite in mind, let me know down below and maybe I'll get to it sooner rather than later. The one I'm most looking forward to would be the Weaponizer Optimus Prime. It comes with, I think, Chain Claw. Just throws me back to the Dark of the Moon video game where Prime armors up to take down Megatron, and I mean, come on, it's Optimus Prime. How can you not be excited? But here we have Optimus Primal, and I guess this review is kind of historic because this is our first live action movie figure of the leader of the Maximals, and I know it's not completely accurate to how he appears in the trailer, but you know, considering this guy's probably been in the pipeline for a couple of years, I think it's close enough. So as we check out the details, for those wondering as to what kind of scale class this would be under, I'd say maybe a very simple deluxe. It reminds me of some of the Warrior class Earthspark figures. You know, it has a decent transformation, some points of articulation, and the detail is adequate. So, you know, for the face sculpt, kind of reminds me more of Optimus Prime than Optimus Primal, but the chest does seem pretty accurate, and I love all of the armored panels this guy has. So you can see he has these massive pecs, there's lots of tubing kind of plugging into the chest, plugging into the arms, which I think looks great. And then as we just work our way down here to the legs, you know, much like the upper torso, loads of tubes here for the thighs, and I think the robot mode foot design also doesn't look too bad. You'll also notice he has a few organic fur patches on him to, I guess, blend in with nature. So as we come around to the back, you know, you'll see a lot of that here for this section, which I think's been pretty detailed. So it's quite a solid, you know, gimmick mainline Primal. I guess we'll just have to wait for the Voyager for those of us who want something a little more movie accurate. Now, articulation wise, sadly, he has nothing at all in the head. It is literally just ball joints here for the shoulders, ball joints out of the elbows, hip joints, which can go forwards and backwards out to the side, knee joints, and due to transformation, a bit of toe articulation. So again, very similar to some of those Earthspark Warrior class figures, but what makes these Weaponizers special is they're going to come with a beast partner, and in the case here of Primal, he comes with Arrowstripe. Not Tigertron, as you would expect. I mean, it is an albino tiger. Immediately you'd think Tigertron, but for some strange reason, no, it is Arrowstripe, and these are pretty much figures which are only going to have beast modes, and then they're going to convert into weapons, which I'll showcase in just a second. And you know what? Detail-wise, especially for the face, I think the paintwork looks sick. You can see, much like Primal, many multi-layered mechanical panels, which I think look great. I mean, it would be awesome if these were to appear in the movie, but unfortunately I think they are mainly just here for the mainline toys. But we're going to basically gut this guy and turn him into Primal's weapon. So to do that, what you're going to want to do is take the front legs, split them open quite literally, then we can rotate these sections here upward, take the tiger head, flip this here back, and then take the legs and fold these back, and bang, there you have Arrowstripe in his arrow kind of crossbow alt mode. And do you know what, for such a simple conversion, you can definitely tell as to what kind of weapon this is supposed to resemble. So I mean, I guess it's simple and effective. Now, in terms of actually equipping it with Primal, you know, you can hold it in the hand, so you can have this guy gunning down some of the Predacons or the Terracons in the movie, which is going to be sick, or you can peg it onto the MechTech ports on the arms, or you can even come around to the back and smack it into this port to kind of create this winged look, which again, you know, I don't think looks too bad. You know, maybe he's thrown that crossbow over his back to actually get down and dirty with some of those Terracons in some hand-to-hand combat. I guess we'll just have to wait for the movie. But yeah, you know, I thought it was a simple gimmick, but very, very effective. Now, in terms of the transformation here for Primal, like you would expect, so easy. So you're going to want to take the shoulder pads. They do click into place. What we're then going to do is basically break his knee, so bend this section here forwards and then arch this piece back. Do the same here for this side, so bend forwards, arch back. You'll then want to take the feet, rotate those around so the front is now facing the back and we get the ape toes. And just to finish things off, something which I thought, again, very simple and effective would be the conversion of the chest. So you're going to want to pop this section here forwards, which shows this massive hollow void, and then rotate this section here around, smack it back into place, and there we have Primal maximized in his ape mode. And like I said, for the bot mode, for something which is gimmick orientated, I think this is a pretty cool looking Optimus Primal figure and makes me quite hyped for the Voyager, I'm not gonna lie. So as we check out the details, I think this does look pretty accurate to how we see him in the trailer. You know, when I first saw this, immediately I thought it looked like Age of Extinction Lockdown, but I get what they were going for. The reason why I think it looks strange is to do with this whole back piece. It just makes the head look very peculiar in terms of its shape, but you know, from a front-on perspective, I don't think it looks too bad. And then we do get a complete brand new chest design because this whole piece did rotate, so there's no longer kind of the arc reactor in the center. Instead, we have some pecs for Primal, which also don't look too bad. And then we get the new monkey or ape toes, which I I think have been sculpted pretty nicely, and there's slightly more kind of realistic fur texture on these, so I guess that's kind of cool. Now, in terms of his posability, identical to the robot mode, you can get him in a more traditional kind of quad ape pose, so if you wanted to, you could utilize kind of the knee joints and the shoulder joints, but unfortunately, the head is going to be facing down on the ground because there is no head articulation at all. Now, in terms of a quick comparison, I've maximized him back into his robot mode, so here we have him next to the mainline deluxe class Cheetor. So as I said previously, literally deluxe scale, just very simplistic and basic in terms of engineering and articulation, and I think these mainline figures are all going to have a very similar design aesthetic, so I guess we can kind of expect a very similar color scheme on our upcoming mainline Voyager Primal, so I guess that's kind of exciting. But yeah, for the time being, these two don't look too bad next to each other. Here he is alongside the mainline deluxe class Airazor, so much like Cheetor, very similar in terms of scale, and as you can see, way bigger than core class. And to think that these are very similar priced, I mean, I think core class now goes for something like $10 to $12, and this primal with the Weaponizer companion is about $15. I don't think it equals out to be too bad, to be honest with you guys, but you know, like you can see, they are much bigger than the core class figures. And maximizing back to beast mode, here we have him alongside deluxe class Cheetor and mainline Airazor. So I guess you can have this primal for the time being, giving some of these maximals his commands. But that was pretty much my review in a nutshell for the Weaponizer Optimus Primal with Arrowstripe. Overall, for kind of gimmick-based figures, I think these are great. You know, they're definitely way better than anything we saw for the Last Night or the Bumblebee movie line. That's why I'm picking them up, to be fair, because I think just as standalone figures, for even someone like me, they're actually quite enjoyable, and detail-wise, they are not bad at all. Now, if you're into the more collector-focused line, then just hold out for the Voyager mainline version, or you know, the Studio Series leader, which will no doubt come out in a couple of months time. But you know, maybe if you've got someone who's just getting into collecting Transformers and you know, they're not too confident with something as complex as a Voyager or a leader, I think this is a really good alternative. And like I said, I think these mainline figures are some of the best that we've seen, and this whole Weaponizer gimmick is sick because we can use this on other mainline figures, and I know there's some Target Masters coming out which we'll also be able to armor this primal up with. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of cross compatibility with the line, and like I said at the beginning of the video, I cannot wait to get my hands on that Weaponizer Optimus Prime. So you guys let me know your thoughts on this Rise of the Beasts mainline figure. Is it one you're going to be adding to the collection, or will you be giving it a pass in favour of the Voyager or leader class? I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.